Hello, guys. Is this mic working? Or so this is second part of my um, June 22nd second Supermarine Live. So I've told about the religious and science, and they have in common. And if you have attention to the other field, sometimes you realize that, oh, I didn't know they have in common in certain area. Like language, people sometimes say Asian countries they share some kind of similar philosophy, right? And once I once I learned about Chinese and Japanese language, and sometime and I was shocked because they have really many similar vocabulary. And people say that's why, because they have the same root. I don't know, that's the root is Korean or Chinese or Japanese, but they have in common. And the sentence, the order of sentence, like does in English, the subject is at the first and the verb comes next. So you can say there's subject and the verb in the sentence in English, but in Korean, subject is first, that's same, but the verb is actually verb is placed in the very end of the sentence. So if you want to understand the English, maybe 50% or 60%, you can just grab the meaning at the very first part of the sentence. But in Korean language, it's impossible to understand 50 or 60% of sentence if you just hear just first part of the sentence, because you cannot judge this sentence positive or negative because the verb is placed at the end of the part of the sentence. So the whole sentence meaning is actually sometimes different, because do or do not, those are placed at the end of the sentence. So the whole meaning is different. We can, if you don't listen the whole sentence. And Japanese also like that, and Chinese also like that. No. I mean, Japanese is not like that, and Japanese and Koreans actually have a different order in sentence, but we do have common in the vocabulary, like backpack. We call it in Korea kabang, but and the Japanese backpack is also kabang. So, but there are a lot of those kind of vocabularies in Chinese and Japanese and Koreans. So sometimes we can understand why Asian culture and American and other European cultures are, and Caucasian cultures and American cultures are different, which is based on the language. Because the way how to think sometimes based on the language. And if you think and if you understand the difference, and then we can understand the other person's view more clearly, And if you have in common within different area, actually you can understand the other field more, sometimes familiar or easily. So think about, just pay attention to the other field is really important. And in the politics, sometimes it applies same, exactly same. I've I I know a lot of people are crit- criticizing other party, right? There are a lot of people out there uh, criticize other party. They're not supporting. But I haven't. I don't have many. I don't have actually. I do have very few people who understand the other party's policy or the uh, other parties are insisting. They don't know the other party's strategy as well. They are focusing on their own party uh, which they are supporting. So actually, we cannot say that we cannot criticize the other party, uh, even though we don't understand the other party's uh, strategy and what they are aiming for, and we just criticize, right? And if you have interested in other party, then you can finally criticize other party. And if you understand your own party as well. So that applies in our lives as well. Just sometimes it's about religious things, sometimes it's about the field, about just human science, or just in science, in engineering there are a lot of parts actually. If you are not engineering major, you haven't realized that there are more than 20 majors in engineering, because um, people who are not majoring engineering, just they call uh, those kind of major as engineering. But actually in engineering majors, they don't understand each other. They just do not know the other engineering major. Mechanical engineer doesn't have any idea about industrial engineering, because we learn just absolutely different things. We just like mathematics, and we like physics and science. That's it. And based on the science and mathematics, we learn totally different things. And but if you learn the other engineering major, and then now we understand, oh, we have in common in certain area. In certain area we have in common. Wow, that's interesting. That's what happens in engineering major. So in our daily life, that applies. Uh, that happens every day. We don't understand the other's field, the other's perspective, because just we do not pay attention to. And paying attention to means if we should study about other field, and that's can be done by reading a book of their field. And yeah, so we cannot just say that Asian language is stem from the Chinese. But if you study more and more and more, there are actually a lot of debation about root of the language. Sometimes it can be political, and sometimes it can be emotional. But if you understand the hegemony about the language, they are discussing, yeah, fiercely, fiercely they are discussing about the root of the Asian language. And if we don't understand the circumstance, and if we don't understand who is instead insisting about some uh, some aspect of other language, for example, if I'm Chinese, I insist the Chinese character is the root of all language. But if you don't understand the other language's history, you cannot say that simply, right? And if you don't have any Chinese history, and if you are just insisting that Korean language is the root of the Asian country, that is also absurd. So it's the language is just one example about not understanding the other fields. Yeah, so that's why we have to pay attention to the other part. And when I studied about the Catholic, I also studied about the other religions because I don't want to be uh, just, I don't want to uh, think, just, I don't want to decide my religion as just perfect. Just I just wanted to study about the other field, and I realized that other religions has also very solid reasoning about their religions. So I was really shocked because if you in a group of some religion, uh, they always insist same things, right? And that is a kind of belief, right? And that is faith. Sometimes I know, and I do have a faith, and I do have, well, a religion I believe in. But if you go to the other religious culture, actually you are shocked because they are wise, and uh, their Bible is also based on the really really solid and reasonable um, history about uh, their faith. So Islamic or Catholic or Protestants, if you study about it, actually you'll be shocked. They have in common actually more than 70%. You'll be really, really shocked. That is also interesting part of the human. People believe in the religions. Oh, they may be very different, right? But actually, you if you study about things, uh, the people who are appearing in the Bible, the names are really, really same because yeah, the same persons are appearing of different religions Bible, and the interpreting is really really different. So some people say, oh, religions are religions Bible or Quran or other books about them, but they just answer us no. Then how can you say that is debatable, or how can you say that it's different? How can you say that? Because you learn from your friends, or because you learn from your parents, or because you learn from the people who you respect, we should think about it. Yeah, I know it's sometimes hard to just, sometimes it's just you don't want to just think about it deeply. But we can, if we do pay attention to the other field, not about just religions, and we do pay attention to the other culture, it should be based on the knowledge which is written, uh, which is written. So yeah, and then we finally can criticize the others field. Yeah, if you just criticize just one field without any knowledge about the other field, that is nonsense. Nonsense. How can you? Yeah, how can you say that? So I try to learn other languages as well in the same perspective. I want to learn about France, and I want to learn about sometimes Southeast Asian countries' language, because I after that I can say that, oh, you have a similar or different culture from Korean language or Chinese language or Japanese language or English language. And that applies everything in our life. Everything. And debation should be based on the knowledge the other party's opinion, based on the understanding of the other party. Yeah. And if you don't understand the other party's reasoning or the other party's history, actually it's not debation, it's just insisting. Yeah, insisting. And insisting is kind of sometimes just fight. Just fight. That's not debation. Just fight, because if they don't know each other and just they are insisting, and they just they are just not ready to accept, or just they just want to persuade their perspective to the other parties, to just, I don't want to say the other party as the opponent. Yeah, and I know this is hard to swallow. This concept is really hard to swallow, but if you don't understand the other fields or the other areas, actually you are just insisting. And believing in faith is important in our life. I know it. Because it's your life, it's our life. So if you believe in yourself, if you just have some faith for religion and some uh, politics, politics things, it's really okay, because it's your life. If you're talking to your friends and if you want to share your life with other people, then we should understand the others' field. And we don't have any right to criticize other people's opinion, right? Other people, we should respect others' opinion. And I'm, I think the respecting is based on understanding the other field's knowledge or the other field's history. And Why did I say that? So we should study hard. That's what I'm saying. And I've seen a lot of people who believe in some area in politics and religion things and didn't study other field, and the late year of their life they realize that, oh, I only study in certain part, and I they just say that, oh, I just partially understand the life. And yeah, that's what I heard in our life. So sometimes when I want to persuade other people, and I always study not my own part area, not my own field. I just study the others people's field. And among the progress, actually I understand the other people's opinion clearly. And then I sometimes it doesn't need to persuade the other people because I'm persuading myself by studying the other's field. So it's kind of process to balance our life. Mhm. So some people might have mm, might think, oh, my opinion is wrong, or my opinion is not right. That's I should respect their idea because I don't know the other people's thinking. So I should study about their view or their field more. Yes. And if it's their face, or if it's their um, strong belief, I just respect them. But um, we should think about uh, the other people's face as well, because we are living all together. and without just I without respect, and respect equals studying other field. Just for me, just I don't think that respect is just based on the emotional things or just acknowledging things. I think respect should be based on the knowledge about their field, because uh, uh, if don't have any idea about their field's knowledge, actually I'm just pretending to understand them. It's hard to swallow sometimes, though. And if you want to have a friends, if you want to make a friends, if you want if you want to have a friends, then what kind of friends you want to have? Well balanced person who want to understand the other fields and struggling to study other fields, or just have a strong faith in their own field. Between them, which person do you wanna get to know? Yeah, seriously, you should think about it. I've read these books maybe 5 times because I've checked this area that, yes, maybe, yeah, 5 times because I check it. So I have a lot of comments on these books, and I've read these books last Christmas as well because it says December 25th. Merry Christmas. Really interesting. Um, Actually, my aim for reading is not just reading. I My aim is to be a reader, not leader, reader. My aim is not just reading, and my aim is not uh, learning guitar. My aim is to be a musician to play guitar. So that is kind of maybe, oh, isn't that the same thing? But based on the language perspective is different because um, reading is acting, right? And reader is someone who can be, and learning guitar is acting, and musician is someone, right? So I want to be someone in my life, and so I don't have a dream like that. Um, I wanna earn a lot of money, or I wanna be a doc. I wanna just, so we should think about it. Sometimes are we focusing on doing, or are we focusing on the someone who want to be? That is also sometimes can be different. And I was writing about those things in this part, so that's why I shared this idea. And I sometimes do have aim or resolution for years resolution or years aim, or I do have a dream, but uh, above the dream, above a dream and above a resolution, I have an emphasis on the system, because that's without system, we don't have how to. So very first day of a year, I always restructuring my system to make those kind of resolution or dream. And without those system system can be composed of actions and schedule and daily actions and weekly actions, and so yeah, I so this book is about uh, habit, or this book is about neurosystem and psychology things and habit things, and based on the science. So I can understand our acting habit based on the science. Who want to study other fields, there should be four steps. First, your aim is should be very clear. And second, you should make your aim very attractive. And third, it should be done very easily. And fourth, lastly, you should feel the satisfaction about learning the other field. So make it clear, and make it attractive and make it easy to be studied and get some satisfaction from it, actually you can be habituated. So this is also kind of system I have emphasis on. Make it clear, make it attractive, make it easy to be done, and get some satisfaction from it. Uh, I've taught Oblong Brie to read a book or workout things from this year, and Brie have read more than uh, 15 books this year, and she hasn't read any book last year. And 15 books and workout more than an hour in a day, and Brie never have weight trained before. So, but after half year, she has almost same weight, but she got more muscles and less fat and a very diligent lifestyle and good way to how to live a life and how to speak in front of the people and how can speak based on the good reasoning, and that is actually based on the morning study time and working out time. So, and Tamin also read, Tamin have read more than, I think, 7 books this year. And I can see the difference, Tamin, before he came to the Oblong and now. And Tamin also has worked out for half a year with us. And Tamin is now a different person. And Tammy and I have 12 years age difference. S but I'm very proud of him because in his age, actually, he's really, really doing well. Uh, he's now 24, 24 in international age, and he's wise. And for the most, he's getting habituated his daily life, and that means he has a system. He's structuring his life, and whatever he's aiming for, he's gonna achieve it because he has system, and I want to support it. So if you have a system and if you have a supporter, and the probability you can achieve your dream is gonna be higher. And if you are more diligent, if you have a more structured system about your life, the very similar people will get together because people are hanging out who has same character, not same character, who has same tendency to toward their life. Because uh, we always attract the people who have who has similar ideas. Also, James have read a lot of, actually he's reading a lot of books too, and he doesn't have this kind of session, but he also has many ideas about life hacks. people are people are saying these days this kind of, yeah, life hacks. And I recommended some books to James, and sometimes he already read it. And now James is also trying to have an Instagram live to share his life. And he hasn't had a time to share his philosophy about life because he has been really diligent, and he has studied really hard entire his life, and he just didn't want to. He just didn't have a chance to share it, and sometimes he didn't want to because he felt that it's kind of bossy, right? So I think in some aspect I feel like that as well, because I don't want to persuade other people as well, because it's their mind, it's their determination. So and yeah, that's why I understand James. But they say James think that, oh, it doesn't have to be just persuasion, right? Just is sharing his daily routine or his philosophy, to just sharing, right? Actually, me too. I don't want to persuade all the people, and because I don't have right. So With James and with Tamin and with Bree, I can actually grow more because our behavior actually are affected by person and environment, people and environment. So there's a kind of function that behavior equals function with people and environment. So if you want to change your behavior, actually it can be realized by changing people who are hanging out and changing environment. That's very simple. Oh, 100 days. You're amazing, Brittany. 100 days. That's amazing. Congratulations in advance. In advance. Okay, I've read 125 pages today. So, guys, it's 6:53, and I'm I'm sure I've shared several things during the reading time, and that is because I didn't have Instagram live last weekend, so this was kind of makeup Instagram live stream. There are a lot of things to think about it deeply, and if you search the Michael Sandel is a Harvard Business School's professor, and if you have read Justice, if if you I think you've heard about Justice, the book, before in your life, and if you haven't read Justice, I think it's a good idea to go to the Michael Sanders Justice lecture on the YouTube. And in the first lecture of his course, uh, they are actually hitting your brain because that's why the Justice book is very popular. And if you think we are very we have moral, and if uh, we think we are very it's very complicated, and just first lecture of the Justice Michael Sandel Models course. Oh yeah, an introduction to moral and political philosophy class. Uh, you realize that life is complicated, and that's why we should think about it more and more. And I strongly recommend you to watch the first lecture of the Michael Sanders Introduction to Moral and Political Philosophy class. So guys, it's 7 p.m. 7 a.m. So I should get prepared to go to workout. And I hope you guys have a nice week. So if you watch the first lecture of Michael Sanders' Harvard Introduction to Moral and Behavioral Things, please share your idea after you watched it. And if you found it interesting, just get a book and read it. And I what I mentioned about the field is actually including the legal things either. Yeah, we should read the legal. We should study about legal things in our life um, too. I hope you guys have a great Thursday and Friday, and I will see you on this coming Saturday. And bye bye. I will finish this chicken breast and tomato and yogurt. And see you guys soon. Bye bye. Peace.